everybody. How's it going? It's Saturday night. Let's see. Okay, you can hear me, I think. Pretty sure. It's Saturday night. It's 10 o'clock in London. I have so much to share with you. There's so much. There's so much. And it's like a little bit of this and a little bit of that. And it's going to be great. And I have to refer to my paper tonight because there's all these little things. And I feel very prepared. I have lots of screens set up, ready to pop into action. I'll just tell you all about that. Welcome to Quilt Nerd. This is a show. This is a show you can watch. It's live. I'm live right now. I just didn't want to do any stuff tonight, any makeup stuff. You have to put on a little bit of something. I mean, you don't have to, but I get so washed out. I mean, I am pasty white. I'm vampiric. I don't tan at all, and it's been really hard in my whole life, because it's who cares, right? It's vain, it doesn't matter what you look like. Okay, we're social creatures. We live among people, In 6th grade, I'm basically translucent, going to swimming lessons or whatever. And it's terrible. It's terrible. I was very self-conscious about my almost translucent pale skin until I had a beau at one point. And he was like, I love it. I think it's great. It's alabaster. I mean, it's anyway. But I can't tan. And how did I get on this? Oh, yeah. I have to put on a little bit of... I feel like I have to put on a little bit of makeup, but I don't like it. I just want to come as I am, So this is mostly me coming as I am. But it just takes one person to tell you that something you don't like about yourself is actually really great for it to be a new world. I mean, he was like, oh, it's one of your best features. This pale skin, it's white, ivory skin, I was like, really? And he was like, oh yeah. And I was like, really? And he was like, oh yeah. And I was like, okay. So then I was cured. I was fixed. Anyway, so I'm so excited. Last night's show, the bonus show, Friday Night Live, really energized me, and it was a great show because of the content. And I was so happy to discover that work along with all of you. It was super intense. I loved it. What else? I don't want to live if it's not intense. I mean, what are we here for, So that was really great. That really gave me a lot of energy. And so, here I am. I'm back. It's Saturday night. It's the regularly scheduled show. I feel great. It's weird. Stomach flu thing? I don't know. I mean, I like to think of it as being poisoned. I mean, something poisoned me, right? So if you're poisoned, not fatally, thank God, it probably takes a minute, right, to get over it. Because the past couple days, a couple times today, twice, I was I just felt not normal. But aside from that, I feel great, totally back on my game, super excited to be here. And the content that I have for you tonight, it's not just that is exciting me. I have announcements. I mean, I have I'm so excited. I have the coolest announcement. I'm not pregnant. I didn't win the lottery. Wouldn't that be a great announcement? Wouldn't it be so cool? It would be very cool if that was the case. But Eric plays a little phone lottery sometimes. Sometimes he wins $5. It's very exciting. I don't know. Okay, well, maybe I should have done more. I don't know. So it's you're here. Let's see. They say cute hair. Well, that's good. I got a perm. Yeah, I got September. Best thing I ever did. And it's been a few months, and now it's time. I'm going to get a perm before I go home to Chicago. Okay, I can't wait. Here's the announcement. Eric and I are going home to Chicago on the 16th of December, a week from Thursday. We planned on going home for 10 days. And we initially did that because, I don't know, there was a reason why, right? Because we're you have to spend so many days in the UK. It's a tax thing. I don't know, but it doesn't matter now. It doesn't. So there was a tax thing, or there was some kind of okay, we can't spend too long in the States because of this particular thing, whatever. But then Eric's mother passed away and we went to the States. I didn't go home. We were there in the Pacific Northwest, doing all of that. And so that kind of changed like the landscape of like how much we were there and here, whatever. So it's sort of a moot point. So we had these plans to go home to Chicago for 10 days, holiday, whirlwind. I'm going to Boston with my mom and hopefully going to meet some of you at the Fabric of the Nation exhibit. So it's like this whirlwind trip home. I'm going to Boston. Eric's got to go back to Washington State for a thing. It's just like, ugh. And so then I'm thinking to myself, hey, self, you're going to come home and in 1 month, you're going to fly back to the United States because it's QuiltCon in Phoenix. And I was like, maybe I should just stay in Chicago in January. So I'm going to. I'm going to just stay in Chicago in January. I mean, I'm feeling very bi-coastal and disorganized. I mean, it may sound sort of glamorous, like, I'll just be in Chicago or I'll be in London. It's like, yeah, I don't know where anything is. That's what it actually looks like. But that's what I'm going to do. So I'm going to go home on the 16th. I haven't been home in Chicago since April. So I'm going to go home for the holiday, and then I'm going to go to Boston, and then I'm going to go to New York to see my sister Hannah with Eric. Very exciting, New York City, for like a couple days. And we were going to leave from New York to come back to London, but we're just going to go back to Chicago. And Eric may be doing different things. He's got work stuff, and we don't know. But I'll be in Chicago from December 16th. I'm really excited. Like, I'm really excited. I'm really excited because part of the reason I'm excited is because I'm going to be twitching from the States. Now, I don't want to, this might bum out, some of the people here on this side of the pond or in, elsewhere in different time zones because the show will change, right? The hour of the show will change because I'll be in the States. So I'm going to be doing these streams at like 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock p.m., 9 o'clock p.m., 10 o'clock. I don't know. And that means it's crazy, weird hours here for y'all who are here now. You know what I'm saying? But, I mean, how cool is that to do like some evening time things? Because it's not evening time for me either, y'all. I've got streams at 5 p.m. for you, 11 a.m. Central is 5 p.m. here. And then it's 10 o'clock here. So I'm just really excited about the idea that we could all hang out at 8 o'clock at night. Well, not all of us, but some of us. Anyway, very, very excited. Yeah. So that's happening. Yeah, that's one of the announcements. It's just one of the announcements. I gotta say hi to everybody. Myra, are you gonna get tired of me? You don't have to answer that, but I don't know. Padma's here. The write down. You were last night, man. That was an experience. It was a journey. Susan R. Michael, by the way, I mentioned it, but last night we looked at this work of Jesse Crimes and his community, right? His growing community of contributors and all this stuff. Amazing. Susan R. Michael was the reason we looked at that because Susan R. Michael is the unofficial research assistant for the Quilt Nerd Show, which you're watching right now. And I'm going to tell you what this is all about in just a minute. D. Marie, OG D. Marie. Sue is here. Marie, wait, M. Hicks? Yes. Marsha, right? It's Marsha. M. Hicks. Yes, it was Marsha. If I had just read 2 more words, I would have seen. I'm really glad you're here, Marsha. So glad. Let's see. Oh yeah, 3 days in a row. I know. I don't know if you can think about me. I have to deal with this every day. Oh God. Kaylin. Hey, Kaylin. Kaylin, I'm so glad you're here. Welcome to the show. Oh, and welcome to all the YouTube folks. One technical thing. Oh yeah. So multi-streaming to YouTube. And the good news, the bad news is that the bandwidth thing and the whole technical part of doing that is a little bit rough right now because of literally the bandwidth of this place in London. We're in a very old building down by the River Thames, which is 2,000 years old. The River Thames doesn't have anything to do with the Wi-Fi connection, but it's really old, right? And so I'm in this really old city with old buildings, whatever. So I can't open the chat with the YouTube folks, people watching YouTube right now. It really bums me out, and some tech people might be like, that has nothing to do with it. But I swear, when I open the YouTube chat box on my little program that I'm running here, things fall apart. People get screens frozen, and I'm like, I look like that, which is embarrassing. But I want to minimize that. So if you're watching on YouTube, I'm so glad you're here. I apologize that I'm not going to be engaging with you on the chat. But the good news is that when I'm back in Chicago, it's fiber all day. It's fiber all day. So it'll be like multi-stream. Where else can we stream? Facebook? Bring it. So, the signal is like so strong, right? So that'll be really cool. We'll have really, really good tech behind us, right? So that's awesome. So Kaylin, I'm glad you're here. And YouTube people, I'm glad you're here. And if you're watching on the replay, I'm glad you're here. Don't skip this part, Don't skip this part because this is like good stuff. Lady Ace, thank you for following. That's awesome. You all might notice something up here. I'll talk about that in just a second. Yep, tissues. I know. Same. Word and Bird Nerd, I'm so glad you're here. Good afternoon. A quilting and college football afternoon. Approved. That sounds really good. I hope you have snacks. Yeah, if the husband is listening now, husband, you're a good man. We have to have our stuff. We have to have our thing. We have to have our quilt nerd thing, our quilt stuff. We just have to. Dee Marie, I agree. It is a fun place to be. Blobfish, hi. You liked my hair. I remember that. Thank you. Dana, hello. It's great to see you. I'm glad you can catch this episode live as well. Being live is really fun. It's just really fun. Yeah, and Elaine, just touching, right? It was a touching episode because of the content. Lauren, we're going to talk about this little emote that you're liking. And welcome. You came yesterday, yeah? I think you were here yesterday. I'm pretty sure you were. I'm really glad. Questions about QuiltCon. Excellent. Joyous Fibers, hello. You're going to be at QuiltCon. We will... Oh, that reminds me. Okay, that's another thing. We need to... The quilt that we're working on that's super loose, like this whole plan, like no one knows what's going on because we have to talk about it and we haven't. I am actually going to ask my mom to spearhead that project. So just hang in there. But the other thing is QuiltCon, we should talk about a meetup. We should just choose a time and a place for like a quilt nerd meetup and just meet up, you know what I'm saying? So let me do that. QuiltCon meetup. It would be pretty simple, it's just like, hey, let's meet here at this time and then like go get margaritas. We'll be in Phoenix. So the only thing that I know now is that we should get together, whatever nerds are at QuiltCon, like we have to hang out. And we're having tacos. The best tacos and the best just like, I don't know, fresh Mexican food, fusion or otherwise. Phoenix, man. Oh my God. I still remember like the tomatillo salsa, I had last time I was there. So we're eating Mexican food. That's all we're doing. And talking about quilts, obviously. So we're going to do that. Quilting politics. Sue, you're going to Boston. Are you going while my mom and I are there? If you are, we got to figure that out. We'll talk about that in the coming week. Kaylin's here. Hex is here. Robin's Nest. Hello, everybody. Says hello, everybody. Welcome to you. Elaine is here. Yes. Cattle quilt. Yep. Good. Myra. Okay. Great, Myra. Myra, you're here. I think I said hi to you, but I always just say hi to you again. And Bip, I feel like I haven't seen you in a long time. That's not me like calling you out for not being here. That's not it at all. I'm just like, oh, how are you doing? How have you been? You can tell that I am excited. I always am. Yvonne is here. The show can begin. Word and Bird Nerd. Frozen video. Oh dear. Oh boy. Okay, I'm gonna hope that moment has passed. I might be very behind. It might be minutes ago that was happening and now it's over. Just for a second. Okay. A little bit of freezing. Okay, I think I'm caught up. Hey, NDH, thank you so much for subscribing. You're a Prime subscriber for 2 months. I really, really appreciate it. And I don't know if my little subscription goal meter is going to work or not. If it was working, I feel like it would show up that someone just subscribed, I have a goal. Here's my goal. I would like to get 50 subscribers in Twitchmas, which is December. I think it's a little ambitious. I don't know if it's possible, and I'm not just saying that because I'm some genius, salesman. Like, I just don't know if it's possible. I really don't. I don't know that it's possible, but that would be great. So if you haven't subscribed yet to Quilt Nerd, that little ticker is supposed to do a thing every time someone subscribes. So we'll see if it actually does. But in the month of December, it would be great. It would be great and exciting if 50 subscriptions happened for Quilt Nerd. I put a lot of work into this show because it's my favorite thing to do. So it's not like work, but it is. It is, because I tried to figure out that subscription widget and it took a long time. I don't think it's gonna work. That's okay. Anyway, I love being here, but if you want to throw a buck into the tip jar, basically, the subscription is a great way to do that, and you get a free subscription with your Amazon Prime membership, so you can subscribe to one Twitch channel for free every month, and you could make it Quilt Nerd, and all the goals would be reached, So, and you can gift a subscription. That is the thing Carol Hempel has done enough. Don't do it anymore. And so there's just all kinds of fun things. Okay. Oh, my mom. My mom is in the chat. Mom, hi. Mom, did you hear? Mom, did you hear? Oh, yeah, you heard. Okay. Mom's walking the dog. She'll be back. Okay, this is all working. Yes, and Padma says make sure to check the policy on letting people back into the country during the epidemic. 1000%. We've already done scheduling a COVID test, like when we get back, when we go, we're all over it. 1000%. And it changes all the time. If anybody's traveling anywhere, but especially outside of a country's borders, it's a whole new thing, and we are diligent indeed, because if you aren't, you've got to do everything by the book. It's not just a test, it's a PCR with a signature. But yes, Padma, we're totally there, and we're working it out for sure. Yep. Okay, Lady Ace. Thank you so much for coming. Oh, I'm taking a long time with these hellos, but it's just the way it is. Lady Ace, you've been following me since Quilty, and that's awesome. I love Quilty. People really, a lot of people learned how to make quilts watching Quilty, and that makes me feel really good. And okay, I think I'm caught up. Marianne. Yeah, you're not going to QuiltCon or Boston, but you know what? There will be a trip, and it will be epic, and it's right around the corner. I don't know what it is, but it'll happen, because life is long. If we're lucky, life is long, and lots of things happen. And anyway, but I wish you were going to be at QuiltCon too. That would be great. Why aren't you going to? Okay. Okay, so let's see. Okay, and here we go. Nose to Quilts, thank you so much for subscribing. I really appreciate it. And hello, and welcome to the show. You subscribed for 2 months. I appreciate you, and we all do. Okay, that's the scoop. So, here's the deal. If you're joining us for the first time, if you're a person who's here all the time, I tell you now what the show's about and why we're here, okay? And if you've heard this before, I do it every time. Because we have to set things up. Framing things is so important, and just sort of launching into all this quilt nerdery without telling you maybe why we're here. Maybe we would lose something. Maybe it's. I think it's important to talk about what this is all about before we talk about the stuff. So if you've heard this before, go get some crisps. I have my crisps, balsamic vinegar. And here's the deal. So the people here who have been here for the past 4 months, the show started 4 months ago, and the people who've been here, we're into quilts. Some of the people who drop by the show actually aren't quilt people, but they dig the show because it's a great show. And that's not because I'm great. It's because there's a really fascinating world of quilts. And quilts are not, if they were just pretty blankets, this is my new catchphrase, if quilts were just pretty blankets, I wouldn't be here. And the people who are watching this show, dedicated, 3 times a week, this show happens, if not more. This month it'll be a lot more because it's Twitchmas. if they were just pretty blankets, if it was just like, yeah, we like them, it wouldn't, the show couldn't exist, I don't think. It wouldn't exist. But the truth is that quilts are a lot more than just blankets. They are blankets, some of them. Some of them are art objects. Some of them hang in a gallery. Some of them are in museums. And quilts can cover you. Most do. The vast majority of quilts are, they are blankets. They cover you. They can warm you when you're cold. They can bring you comfort. You're feeling sick. I was sick this past week. Quilt is great. It's like, what do you need? Chicken soup? Maybe. Chicken soup, your iPad, maybe to watch something, while you're like in bed. And a quilt, these things are really, really basic, like human needs. A quilt is like a really basic piece of material culture. It's part of our lives, these quilts, right? And, I've heard, by the way, most quilts are made of cotton. And someone said to me once, or maybe I read it somewhere, that, we're born and we are wrapped in cloth, cotton, probably, maybe not, but we're wrapped in a textile when we're born as a baby. And when we die, we're wrapped in a textile, we're embalmed or whatnot, but we're covered in cloth our whole lives, really. And there's different kinds of cloth, and different parts of the world make different, sorts of cloth, but textiles are a part of our lives. And they're sort of, I like to think that, if aliens came down from the heavens, or the sky, whatever, I don't know where aliens come from, but if they came down here and we had to give them just one object, we could only give them one object that would sort of communicate like the best of us, or like that would sort of say who we are in one object, I really think a quilt would be a really good option, because a quilt is designed, it's like, takes some thought, right, to make a patchwork or an applique quilt. So it's designed, it's crafted, it's made of materials that we take out of the earth, cotton or flax or whatever, linen, whatever kind of fabric we're making, and we make the fabric, and then we make a quilt, and then we use it. And it also has this emotional quality to it, right? Our quilts can hold our memories. They hold stories of our family. They are really special. They're really special objects. And there's a lot of special stuff in the world. Architects love their thing, and musicians love their thing, and there's so much that's great. And you could say, oh, if aliens come down to Earth, can we just like play them I don't know, some Tupac or something? And I would be I would have trouble not voting for it, because it's important, right? And like, there's a lot of different pieces of culture that would be very important to communicate to somebody who didn't know who we were, like, as creatures. But I think a quilt is a good option. And so, we look at quilts here, and we look at old ones, and we look at really new ones. On yesterday's show, we looked at a young man, Jesse Crimes, who was incarcerated for 6 years, and he's working with quilt makers, Amish quilt makers in Lancaster, Pennsylvania, using fabric. What he uses in his quilts is largely clothing from incarcerated people. So he's making quilts with a social consciousness, awareness, message, right? Bringing people together from very different parts of his state and very different lives. These people have very different lives. I mean, an Amish woman, like, a 70-year-old Amish woman, and someone who's been incarcerated for, a long time in the criminal justice system, trapped in the criminal justice system, but through a quilt, they're communicating, and through a quilt, they're communicating between each other and with other people in the community and beyond, to use this powerful object to talk about us, the people who are living, living here on Earth, right? On Earth, and like trying to figure out how to live and how to make a society, work, right? It's quilts that brought all these people together. So that's what we talked about yesterday. We talked about that, we watched this totally awful like movie preview from 1966, it's called The Crazy Quilt, and we all suffered through that. It was totally lame. I hated it. Could you tell? So, we're not just like, oh, look at that nice quilt. We're like, oh, look at that nice quilt, which we did at the start of the show. But then we look at culture. And so this show is about investigating humanity. It is, and it's about investigating culture and art and fashion and all these things. And the show will probably be on forever. Yeah, it's true. I'll be like, hopefully, I'll live that long, and the show will go on that long because there's so much to see and there's so much to think about. And on today's show, I have all this stuff. I have all this. Sometimes I have like a big chunk of content, like there's like a big story. Like Jesse Crimes was like a big story. There'll be like But tonight it's like little bits of stuff because I have this folder on my desktop. And by the way, I lecture, I write articles for magazines, I teach. I don't teach patchwork anymore, but I make quilts. I was on TV for a long time, like actual TV. I was on the internet, teaching quilting. So like I'm like a professional, but I'm not a historian. I'm not like an academic historian. I do this because I love it, and hopefully that enthusiasm and that amateur approach gets you excited too. You don't have to be a professional historian. What does that even mean? I don't know. You don't have to be. You can geek out, nerd out on this stuff just as you. And by the way, amateur, the root of the word amateur is amare. Okay, amare, and that's Latin. It's love. Amar, amare, right? Love. So if you're an amateur at something, you do it because you love it, not because you're a professional, not because you're lettered and you have letters after your name or you've like trained for years. If you're an amateur, historian, you do it because you're a nerd. You're like a really hopeless nerd and you just love it. And so I'm an amateur historian and I'm so proud to be that because look how much fun we have, So, that's the deal. That's what we do. Show's long. Sometimes it's really long. I don't know. I feel like tonight's going to be long. It's already long. What's happening? Hey, Zagan1137, thank you so much for chatting. It's your first time. Oh yeah. Okay, so here's one of the things we got to do. We got to do it right now. We have new emotes. And it's reminded me to go through these because one of the new, and emotes are like emojis. If you're new to Twitch, that's totally cool. I'm new to Twitch. Almost everybody who is here with us right now, new to Twitch. Guess what? Not a lot of quilters on Twitch so far. But you know how many we've got now? Since this show started, a lot. Bunches. And more are coming all the time. And if you like the show, I want you to tell a friend. But, wait, I gotta use my little thing. Twitch is new for me. I don't know what I'm doing. I can't even get the subscription thing to work. It's okay. But emotes are like emojis. And you can use special ones on this show. The reason I'm bringing this up, look, is because of this. We have a new emoji, and it's a welcome basket. So you can put, so anytime somebody's new, like if they're new in the chat or they're like, it's my first time here, or, it's my first live. I've never been to a live, you should put a welcome basket emoji in the chat to welcome them because we're really glad that we're here. I assume. And J.E. Porter too. I'm so glad you've been watching on YouTube. Thank you so much. We're going to do a little business before we get into the quilt behind me. Well, I got to get small. Hang on. Help, I'm small. So, Sue Kentucky, hi. I'm so glad you're here. Sue Kentucky showed up. Rox is here. Rox, I'm so glad you're here. Rox, wait, you subscribed at tier 1. Thank you for subscribing for 2 months. We appreciate you. Okay, the Flinster. Yes, I missed you. So we have a welcome basket. So glad. Oh yeah, we gotta go here. So glad that we have that so we can welcome people. I made a lol emoji because we can lol, but now we can like lol, so you can say, that's so funny. Someone told me that it's probably like a very common story, but someone's grandmother or something thought lol was lots of love for a long time. And so it was like, okay, good night, Grandma. Thanks for dinner. And Grandma was like, lol, it was like lots of love. She thought it meant lots of love, but it didn't. It means laugh out loud. Let's see. I just want to make sure nobody else, I missed anybody coming in. Okay, great. So there's lol now. Okay. There's, of course, the Quilt Church emoji, which will always be there. That one looks a little faded. I don't know why. But the Quilt Church emoji, for a while, this show was called Quilt Church because somebody was like, this is like church for quilts. And I was like, it absolutely is. And so Quilt Church was the name of the show for, I don't know, a month or something, maybe a little bit longer. But I don't know. I felt like Quilt Nerd was more specific. I felt like it was more accurate, and people would sort of understand instantly what it was about, And so Quilt Nerd became the name of the show. But Quilt Church, you might notice the starting soon music, the be right back screen, if I have to be right back, it's gospel music. It's always going to be gospel music because it's Quilt Church. Okay, so you use the Quilt Church emoji if you're just like, oh, hallelujah, praise, yes, like I'm feeling it, I'm feeling the spirit, right? Use the Quilt Church emoji. I made this. This is an apple. It's a nerd apple. It's like I'm a good student and I'm very happy to be nerding out right now with this information and I'm just happy. I don't know. It's like I don't know. It'll emerge what this really means to us. The graduate cap is just like, I learned something. I'm edified. Whatever you're talking about, Mary, whatever we're talking about in the chat, graduation cap, I have leveled up because of what I just learned on this show. So that's like that. Heart Plus, this is my insignia. It's been my personal insignia for a very long time. I saw someone, I was driving my car in Iowa and an overpass. I was on the highway and there was a highway overpass. And on the highway overpass, I'm talking like I was like 16 years old, okay? I'm 42. So I saw someone had spray painted in white on the highway overpass, not very big, a heart and a plus symbol next to it. And I was like, well, that's great. That's amazing. I love that. It's like more love. Right? More energy, more good, more of the good things, more of the things that are associated with a heart shape. And I just was like, well, that's what I'm drawing on my folder, in math class or whatever. So Heart Plus, Heart Plus has been my logo. It's even trademarked. Yeah. So that is my favorite color of red, and this is the Heart Plus, and whatever. If you're really feeling it, whatever it is, Heart Plus. I just like him. He seems happier than the normal smile emoji, just like he's just eaten chocolate or something. He's really happy, so I like that. She, he, whatever. If you're mad, you got a bee in your bonnet. Use the bee. I was mad yesterday with that dumb movie trailer preview, epic, stupid thing. So you put a bee in there if you're like real upset. You don't use it on each other. I don't think I need to say that, but it's usually a content-specific thing, okay? Oh yeah, and this is the aardvark. I'll go back to that other guy. The aardvark is a Harriet Powers animal. This is taken from her, one of her two very famous quilts. I don't know if it's the Bible quilt or the other quilt, but he's amazing. I don't know. I think the aardvark, the Harriet aardvark, is to be used when something is just cool. Like, that's really cool. Because the aardvark is cool. And in the Discord, we have a Discord server, this is not my best work, but I also clipped out a little animal from Harriet. I love that polka dot in the Discord. So that's in there. In the Discord server, we'll talk about later. But we have one. And so we have a little Harriet. We got Harriet up in here. Okay. And then the welcome basket. Anybody new gets a welcome basket. And finally, the floating baby. The floating baby. I think, who said it yesterday? Like, the floating baby. This is a picture from someone's amazing quilt, website, right? Someone designed this quilt. I gotta find you all. We have to find who it is. I could use your help. Like, whose quilt is this and whose picture is this? Because I don't, I need to get out ahead of that, in front of that, to be like, hey, like, this is an amazing quilt. We love you, and the baby. We just love the baby picture, and it's an emote on Quilt Nerd live broadcast now. This is an emoji or an emote accessible only when you're a tier 2 subscriber. And that's a $9.99 a month subscription. I don't have anything to offer you for that. I would rather people just wait until I can figure something out so that you would feel like you were getting your money's worth at $9.99. But one thing that you would know that you'll get is access to the floating baby emoji. So far, no one can use it, okay? So that you have that to look forward to. So those are the new emotes, okay? That's what that is about. Okay, So Zagen1137 is here. You see, these new emotes are really good, right? The quilting baby Jesus, Marianne. You're one step ahead. You really are. It's good. Raffle waffle. Okay. A thingamal. You know what? You should. Actually, that is a great idea, Marianne. You should. It's the quilting baby Jesus. Oh, that's right. Marianne, that's right. The floating baby is the quilting baby Jesus of Quilt Church. Thank you. You are correct. And you should absolutely use an aardvark. One of the aardvark. It seems like an aardvark to me in your Quilt Nerd quilt. Marianne, we got to see Sanford Biggers. We'll talk about it. Text me. We gotta go. Okay. We gotta go before I go home. All right, enough. Don't read ahead. Here we go. We've done everything. We've done all the business. I'm very warm. Hold on. Now let's look at this quilt. I'm going to scoot this down. And I'm going to disappear and open the window because I'm very warm. Hang on 1 second. Just wait 1 second. Okay, great. Oh, that feels amazing. So, every show, when the content machine engine starts, this is how it starts. There's a quilt behind me on the green screen. Hey, J.E. Porter. J.E. Porter subscribed with Prime. Thank you so much for subscribing. An opossum. I know. Look, we could call it an opossum. I totally approve that. The opossum is just a funny word to me, and I've always loved it, so we can call it the opossum. Anyway, so here is a quilt behind me. It's actually a detail shot of a quilt, sort of. And now we're gonna start off this adventure tonight talking about what this is behind me. And what this is something that, when people talk about, like, if I had all the money in the world, or if I was really rich, what would I spend my money on, or whatever. And sometimes, Eric asked me the other day, he's like, if you had all the time you wanted, you had no things you really had to do, like you didn't have to work, for stuff. And if you had, money was no object, what would you be doing right now? And you know what I said? I said I would be doing the show. I would be making YouTube videos on quilt history with like a crew, so I didn't have to do everything myself. And I would be making the show. And I would rent a studio. I would rent a space. If I had all the money, I would get a studio so I could go to a studio and do it. And so, but the other thing that I would do is that I would buy art. I want this. This is a piece of art. It's $1,200. So I can't buy it. Hang on. I can't buy it. And that's too bad, because I think it's really great. And I found it on Etsy, and I'm going to read to you about it. It's $1,200, and it is an antique Dutch folk art. I have lots of pictures to show you. Folk art quilt patchwork. This is how it's described on Etsy. Embellished with pierced buttons. We will see some of these buttons coming up here. Circa 1880 to 1910. And I just don't know. I love it. I love it. I love the size of it. I love that it's this elongated thing. I love that it's framed. I love the frame. It's sort of this Scandia down, Scandinavian wood. It's nothing much, but it's perfect, right? I love to see patchwork under glass. And I'm not just telling you all this because I want this thing. I love it so much. I'm telling you the features, right, of this patchwork moment type deal that we're looking at and why I think this is worthy of having, taking the place of the opening quilt tonight. I think it's marvelous. The gesture of the sun. Look at this, the ribbon, right? Used in this windmill. Forget it. Forget it. I'm dead. Look at these little mushrooms and the piecing here. I love it so much. And the buttons. You're feeling this, right? You're feeling this in the chat, right? Yeah. Oh, yeah. Amy, hi. Hi, Amy. I could do the show from locations all over the world. I love that. Yes. Oh, yes. If I had all the money in the world, 1,000%, I would do Twitch. I would do the Quilt Nerd show from all over the world. And I would have really, really good tech so I could do the interview stuff, because that's like 2.0, I got a lot of stuff to figure out before I do interviews, but like piping in the peeps to talk to them on the show, forget it. It's going to be amazing. Yes. Okay. So let's talk more about this piece. The door is sublime. Oh my God, you're right. You're right. Okay. Let's look closer at this thing. Okay. So here, this is like a cropped version without the, it's somebody's house, or that's someone's selling this on Etsy. So, we don't have like a museum quality image of it. But this is a little bit, we'll come back to this one. Let's look at this. What Susan is saying is true. We'll get a better look at the door of the windmill. Sublime indeed. Yes, exactly, J.E. Porter. It is like it's a 3D looking detail of that door. 1,000%, and I love it. Jill, hi! Jill, you're making turkey soup. Jill, I'm going to be coming back to the US of A from December 16th until I go to QuiltCon. And I leave from Phoenix to come back to London, so I'm home for like 2 months. Oh, I'm just saying, you could send turkey soup to me. I'm just saying. So here's what we have. Oh, no, it's $1,600. It's $1,629. So, okay, here's what it says. A very fine... Oh, there's the door. Ugh. Show me the door. Can I show you the door? I'll show you the door. Look at this door. A very fine... This is from the listing. Framed, patchworked, and embroidered Dutch quilt with white cotton Dutch mill. Okay, this is verbatim. There's typos or something. With white cotton, Dutch mill with a house next to it. Are you kidding me? It's fabulous. It's fabulous. And you know what? You too can make something like this. You can. There's no pattern for this. You know what? You could copy this. Copy it. Good artist borrow, great artist steal, right? I could make it. What am I even saying? I could make it, right? But it's so great, and it's like Dutch, and I love it. Okay. Sorry. So with a house next to it, embroidered in colored wools and silk with 19th century Dutch patterned quilts, composed primarily of half and quarter square triangle blocks. Now, I don't think that that's actually true. I think this is either... Well, it's just not quite right? It's just not quite... half and quarter square triangle blocks. Maybe. We'll go back. We'll look at it. Personally, I'm obsessed with the mushrooms. With floral sprays on the lower left... Ugh! Okay, we're going back to these details, and then we can see the back. Let's go to the full thing. Sorry. Because is there quarter square triangles on this? No, not a one. Not a single one. That's okay. You know what? This is not correct. With floral sprays on the lower left. And clamshell design patchwork on the top left. Okay, well... do they mean the fabric? That is true. Sorry, let me get a better... Yeah, that is true. Okay, it's a floral print fabric. That's cool. And clamshell design patchwork on the top left, meaning the trees, right? And let's take a look at this tree. Hang on now. Sorry, something got weird. Don't be weird. What? Oh, I know what happened. Sorry. Okay, here. Just enjoy the view. Enjoy the view. Something happened. I don't know. I don't know why. I don't know what. Oh, okay. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I don't see, well, I certainly don't see these, and it said something about a log cabin block. There's no log cabin block here. I mean, am I missing something? I don't think so. Okay. Sorry. Let me figure out where that went. It's very strange. Oh, I'm like swiping through all the stuff that I have to show you tonight, and it's just ridiculous. Why are you thwarting me? Okay. Well, this is what we have here. Why are you doing it? Ah, here. Okay. I don't know where it went or why it went there, but it went there. Uh-huh. Okay. You know, I haven't had tech trouble in a while, so I guess it was my time. Okay, just be cool. Talk amongst yourselves. I don't know. I was on a roll. You know, I should just not be surprised, right? I just don't know why that won't let me be there. I want to be here. Okay. All right. You guys, hang on one second. I don't want you to stare at me doing this. I will be right back. Sorry. 2 seconds. Yes. There it is. Yep. Here it is. It's not you. It was me. I told my deepest, darkest secret. And I guess it's just never gonna be known. Sorry, guys. Thank you. Yes, thank you, J.E. Porter. Appreciate it. So we know that the clamshell design, right? The clamshell design is an actual, quilt pattern, patchwork pattern, and so in this description they're talking about clamshell design, but they what they mean is the fabric, I think, right? They mean the fabric. So, and what I was saying the first thing I said, thank you, Linda R, for following. Appreciate you, is that I was so proud of myself that I got the desktop jumble worked out. That's really what I was going on about for minutes. So this is this antique Dutch folk art patchwork thing. So let's read on and let me show you. Look at this. Look at it. It's so great. It's so great. And it's like, let's just take a look here. Hang on. Look at this like construction and this. It's the ribbon here. And maybe it's just a stripe. Do you think it's a ribbon or is it a stripe? Maybe it's just a stripe. But the date on this. Hey, Caitlin. Oh, I'm so glad you're here. Okay, and Caitlin says, this is good. I wonder who wrote this. Yeah, who wrote the description, right? I've often found a disconnect between the language used by art folks to describe a quilt and the language used by people who make quilts. Totally. And it's interesting you say that. We're going to talk, I'm going to bring up something later about the lecture, one of the lectures I'm giving at QuiltCon on quilts and fine art. Caitlin, I hope you stick around because I have a question for you, or I'd like to talk more about that. And you make a very good point that I've been thinking about. Word and Bird Nerd can see SpongeBob coming out of the windmill. Yes, 1,000%. It's timeless. It's timeless. Elaine asks, is the grass under the mushrooms embroidered upon? Oh yeah, I think it is. Look. We'll take a look at the back here in just a second, but you have a great eye. Let's see. Yes. I think the best picture actually I can show you of that is probably what we were on. This here. There's not much to be seen, but yeah, look, it's like little embroidered stitches with little buttons. It's just wonderful. Indeed, it is decisive. It is a decisive piece. Excellent word for it, Susan. So the fabrics are a mixture of plain and woven silks, some of which has hand embroidery and looks to be recycled from traditional fashionable dress. That is what I'm seeing with this stripe, right? I mean, that's fancy. I mean, what else can you say? It's fancy, and look at all these fabrics. Fabulous. The backing, which we'll take a look at, is supported by layers of thick cotton wool sheet. The size is 44 inches wide. I'm going to get to this back. Look at these buttons. I mean, we could remake this, right? But those buttons, they're just chef's kiss, right? So good. Okay, here's the back. The backing is supported by layers of thick cotton wool sheet. Yes. And it's 44 inches wide by 20 inches high. A rare collector's item. I mean, yeah. Note, due to the size of the quilt. Okay, and here, this is this different picture. Oh, that's a really great picture of it. This is how it was in the listing. I can rotate this. It's actually really simple to do. Rotate left. So it's a weird perspective, but oh, that's really good. Oh, it's not corduroy. This isn't corduroy, but it's textured, that white. Oh, it's so good. The bird. I didn't really notice this bird. The birds. There's plural birds. And the chimney here. I mean, this looks like a chicken, farm or something. I mean, that's not a house, is it? I mean, you see what I'm saying, right? Like, that looks like a working farm kind of building. That's not a house. There's too many doors on that to be a house. And this is like a stack, like a smokestack, not a chimney. It's just really interesting. And like the windmill it's sublime. It is. It just couldn't be more awesome, basically. And then you have your sun up here. Anyway, so listen to this. It says, note, due to the size of the quilt, the frame will not be included, as we cannot guarantee the glass safety during transit. I think there's also there's maybe a English as a second language thing going on, because I think just some of the syntax is just like, oh, okay, I think it's not a native English speaker. But this person says, you can message me if you want to include the frame. I would 1,000% include the frame. I'd be like, take the glass out, send me the frame. I want that frame. Yes, exactly. So Kaylin is saying, interesting they can see the back since it's framed. You know, it is interesting. And I think there's one more picture of the back, isn't there? No, there's not. This is it. So they may have, they obviously just peeled back some of this paper to see that. It's just interesting, y'all, because, you think about, like, and I've been thinking about, Kaylin brought up, art people and quilt people, and we talk about art quilts, and what that means, and the easiest way to define what an art quilt is that it's a quilt that's made for the wall, not the bed, and this is, it's art. It could not be a blanket, right? It's too small. It's not even a child's quilt. It's like a wall hanging. And I have said many times, like, mini quilts, the phenomenon of the mini quilt, Modern quilt makers are particularly fond of them because they're sort of like studies, I think, and a lot of the modern quilt style is, it's stylistic, graphic kind of thing. And so the mini quilt got popular, at least it was for a while, it seemed, in the last decade. But there weren't many mini quilts, being made in the 19th century. It was just like, it wasn't a thing. You made a quilt to be used and it was like person size. But then there's always these exceptions, and you find this, and I'm just like, well, it wasn't, and I am sure, this is my theory, this was not the first thing that she made. And we don't know that it's a she, but we're just going to assume that it was because I want to. So, I just doubt it was the first thing she did. It was likely not the last. I mean, a person who makes art that is good, who does a door like that, who has perspective well enough in mind and knows to choose this wonderful stripe as the windmill. And look at the gesture of the top of the windmill. I mean, it could have been like a square, or it could have been, I don't know, but it has this wonderful slope, and then you have the piece. Look at the way the blue is pieced. You have like strips, there are strips, and the sun is sort of encased in its own place in this piece. And the birds, I mean, this is a bird, this is a person who knows about line and form. They just do. Is it, is it the best work of art we've ever seen in our lives? It's folk art, and I think it's fair to call it that. But the way this button is placed, the way the mushrooms look, it's just really good. And it's like, it makes me want to see more, of this person. Maybe they did sketches. Maybe this was their only foray into patchwork or fabric collage or whatever you want to call it. But it's so great. It's so good. And there's such a story there. And sometimes, to be honest with you, there's this door. Sometimes it's like, it's said over and over and over. Every quilt tells a story, I said it at the top of the show tonight. Our quilts hold memories and they hold stories. And it gets a little trite sounding sometimes. But it's actually the truth. These things hold stories. And this one, when I see something like this work of art, that's dated 1880 to 1910, and that could be, verified, right? This person may not know much about, this person may not, maybe doesn't know, judging by the description and them saying that there's quarter square triangles and log cabin blocks and things, they don't know much. So it's quite possible they have not dated this correctly. But a quilt appraiser, a fabric specialist, could absolutely help us with that and tell us. But whenever it was made, it's fucking awesome. And there is a story there. And so I was going on here. Rocks, I love the blue too. It's the perfect blue. It's perfect. Did I miss anybody saying, what the building is? Yeah. Oh, and what is the pink thing? You know what? That's a good question too. So what are you all thinking? Yeah, the walkway to the windmill. It's just ridiculous. What are you all thinking about this building? So M. Hicks says, Maria says, this looks like, Marcia says, this looks like a typical Dutch farmhouse with a windmill out in the field. Okay. Yep. I do not know from Dutch farmhouses, so you probably exactly right. The piecework, Elaine is saying, on the ground is probably meant to replicate either a garden or tulip fields. Oh, you know what that reminds me of? Oh, man. It's great. This show was so much fun to do. Padma's like, maybe they were using Google Translate to write a description. I'm feeling that. I'm totally feeling that. Minimal quilting. Agreed. I don't even know. I mean, is there quilting? Is there really quilting? I mean, I don't think there is. Word and Bird Nerd. I think it's just pieced. And look at this. Hang on. If we go to the last picture, or the picture of the frame, look. So it's wrapped. Like that's the other thing, is it looks like almost like an intarsia or some kind of, like the fabric is, I want it. I want it because I want to look how they made it too. Was it pinned and then stitched? I don't know. It's so great. Look how the sun, I love you people. Oh, you get it, you just get it. The size of the windmill in the foreground is fascinating because it's pretty clear the farmhouse or barn is much larger and thus far off in the background. Indeed. Indeed. And people are loving the write down as loving the sun. Constructed with the blue. And you'll note, and if my mom is back in the chat, you know, we say all the time, if you're going to make a scrap quilt, you can use whatever fabrics you want, but each fabric, it's a good rule of thumb to make sure each fabric has a friend. So if you have, for example, a golden sun, and I'll bet you, watch this, Mom, if you're here, you're going to be so proud. Every fabric in this has a friend. Let's look and see. So this golden sun, look, we have a little gold, just a little bit down here. And what made me think of it, right down, was this little bit of gold in the flowers in the sun, right? There's just this little touch, and it just brings things together. It does, and it'll do it in your scrap quilts too. Even if you have pink scraps if you have a pink fabric in your scrap quilt, just make sure there's like even the tiniest little pink polka dot in a fabric in your quilt as well. You know, some navy blue fabric with a tiny pink polka dot. It's amazing. It's amazing how it just like gets things to congeal in a very good way. So yeah, I think, okay, so you're seeing quilting stitches. Interesting. You know what we should do? Oh, Amy is saying maybe the pink is where you tie up the horse. That makes perfect sense to me. Yes, around the sun, quilting around the sun. I don't know. I mean, I feel like it's, I don't know. Here's what we need to do. Where is it for sale? Here, I'm going to show you the listing. Hang on one second. The large red rectangle on the farmhouse that crosses the white-blue border. This guy? Let's see, the only thing that seems odd, large red rectangle on the farmhouse crosses the white-blue border. I think, yeah, this, yeah. Yeah, it is a little bit weird, isn't it? Okay, I see what you're saying. Hang on one second. So what I was thinking is, what we need to do, look at this thing. What we need to do is, we need a quilt nerd office and many employees. I'm looking at the pool of employees at this moment. And if we have an office, then we can get this and hang it over the door. Okay. So hitching post, yes, applique stitching and piecing. Okay, so Marianne, thank you. We got to bring this in, and this is a good reason or a good way to do it. Here is the listing. Okay. Oh, it's great, right? Oh, it's so much fun. Listen, there's a lot of pressure to pick just the right thing to start the show, because it's the start of the show, y'all. This is it. So it's Etsy. I'll put it in the chat, but it'll be in the Discord. Karen, first time chat from a viewer. Everyone, please send a welcome basket Karen's way, if you would. We're so glad you're here, Karen. And Karen says she's seeing the pale blue being tall grass, and then the front door has a cleared space. Okay, that yes, because we were talking about that, like what this thing is. You all see that? So okay, well, it's like, what is this, right? Like, what is the deal with that? Because it's kind of weird. And so in Karen, in her very first chat ever at Quilt Nerd, says, I'm seeing the pale blue being tall grasses. This here. Yeah, yep. And then the front door has a cleared space. Yeah. I mean, I'm actually saying yes and thinking about it. Like, that does make sense. It is interesting. It is the one place where we're scratching our head, right? I literally just scratched my head. Amy will work for Quilt Nerd. Okay, we've got one. And Susan says, oh, this is so good. I want to read every comment. Sorry. So Elaine says, maybe it's all the flooding that's been going on, but now it looks like the farmhouse is flooded. Listen, I thought the same thing. I saw this as water. You know, that lighter blue. Sorry, I gotta try to. This lighter blue as water. You know, it looks a little bit like it, but the thing is it doesn't carry over there. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, but there's a windmill. I don't know. And then Susan Michael says, well, if there had to be a quilt we all just stared at for 30 minutes, this could probably work. And it has definitely been that long. Thanks, Marianne. Thanks, Ivana. All those welcome baskets is so good. It feels really good when you're new in a live stream. People are like, hey, you know. Okay. This is great. Everybody's Googling. I love it. Okay, we gotta move on. But that's our opening quilt. Oh yeah. And I remembered. I gotta show you this thing. I gotta show you another, because someone said I believe it was someone new. Was it anyway? Someone said the stripes or the patches, the rectangular pieces sort of were like communicating a stone path or something. I'm remembering this, okay? So let me just show you something that's going to blow your mind. I mean, further. I got to find it. I'm in, you know where I am? Look where I am. I'm in the International Quilt Museum search engine, because it's amazing and I know right where to go. But there's so many quilts in this particular collection that I'm looking at that I have to scroll through, but I know just where this is going to be. It's going to be in here and you're going to love it. Really hope I can find it. Oh, I don't have Chris. All these wonderful Amish quilts. We were talking about that yesterday. Mom, if you're here, I'm looking for Jonathan Holstein's, you know that one? That farmhouse quilt? It's in the collection. I'll find it. There's a pictorial quilt that's so, it's so bizarre. And if it doesn't turn up here, I know where to get it. Here it is, but I found it. Whew. Oh my God, you just don't even know. This, you know, I should probably save this for an opener, but I'm not gonna, because we need to see it, and we need to see it right now. And here it is. Look at that. Okay. So this one, I mean, I have to be really close to, the green screen is like right behind me. It's like, I'm like trapped when I do this show because it has to be pretty close behind me. So I can't get back very far because then I hit my head. But getting back far from this quilt is a good idea. Here's what we're looking at. If you haven't noticed, quilt nerd, we just go where we go. We do what we do. We look at what we look at. That's just the way it is. There's an agenda, but there also is not one. Minecraft, totally. This is like the most twitchy thing. It's actually true. Oh my God. This quilt is the most Twitch quilt that I've ever seen. Because it's like totally 8-bit, right? Certainly the most 8-bit Minecraft computery looking quilt from the 19th century I've ever seen. Yeah, yes, exactly. Word and bird nerd, I'm hearing you. Ivana, what are you cooking? Don't tell us yet. Keep cooking, but I want to know. I have a feeling you are very good at making food. It's a sense I have. Padma, I think I put the link in the chat, didn't I? Did I not? Oh, sorry. Hang on. I can put the link to the listing in the chat. I thought I did. I apologize. Hang on one second. Dutch, antique Dutch, da-da-da. So the quilt that you're looking at is pictorial. There it is. Oh, I hit a character limit. Okay, hang on one second. It's a really long URL. Hang on one second. Hang on. Okay, here. This is where I'll split it up. Okay. Those are the two, oh God, You know what? Just look for this. Look for, here. Just look for Antique Dutch. This is what I'll put in the chat. Sorry, guys. I didn't realize it didn't send. That's the description. Antique Dutch folk art quilt patchwork embellished with Pierce boxes. Okay. So look for that. So, I know. I've never... Christmas! Christmas, hi. I mean, tonight's even better than last night. In terms of just, like, juggernaut kind of quilts and, like, huge, you know... Like, everybody's just having revelations. Okay, everybody's having... We looked at one quilt for half an hour. It's a very nerdy night. That's definitely true. It's very nerdy. So this quilt is 19... Let's look at this listing here. 1890 to 1910. This quilt was made somewhere between 1890 and 1910. And what you're looking at is it's called an American Home. This quilt has a title, and it is called American Home. Now, who titled it that, whether it was the maker of the quilt or it was somebody who owned it or collected it, I mean, it's really, really something, right? So here, down here, and I've looked at this quilt with my mom, and I've looked at it with other people who have really studied this quilt. This is a man. This is a person down here sitting on a fence or sitting on some structure, okay? Legs, you see, legs. This may be a cane or something, or maybe, because it's not clear, it's not clear, pushing a plow or something, but this is a figure down here. This is a figure of like a person, okay? What's been told to me is that this stripe that's used down here, flowers, right, or a garden, and you could interpret this differently, but like, it seems to be that like the stripe is used at the base of the house to communicate grass or flowers or some kind of, natural phenomenon. Clearly we have a huge tree. We have the house. Do we have two houses? I don't know. But look up here. And this is what, when someone said that the patches of the quilt were maybe to represent pave stones or something like that, I thought of this quilt because look at the clouds. I mean, that is so pixelated and 8-bit and just totally video game up here, that would be the translation. These two strips, this white and this gray, these strips of fabric made up, that would be the clouds. It's genius. It's genius. But it's not just strips of fabric, right? Well, no, it is. It's quilted. This quilt is quilted in these squares, right? No, it's made up of... What is happening here? I don't know. My knowledge of this quilt is now come to an end, and we need to look at it together. This quilt is awesome, Nancy. It is awesome. I'm so glad you're here. Watching Stepmom. So glad. Quilt City indeed. He could be on a wagon. Yep. He could be on a wagon being pulled by a blurry horse. Excellent. A smaller URL. Thank you, Marianne. Oh, that's a good question. I mean, that's a good idea. If it was this maybe quilted from a needlepoint pattern, if they existed at the time, I don't know. So Elaine says, being from Massachusetts, it looks like a stone wall in front, maybe. Yeah, totally. Anyway, I mean, you can see why I thought of this one, after we looked at the windmill. I mean, there's just this depiction of a home scene, a natural scene. I mean, it's just amazing. It's amazing. I want to tell you how big it is, and then we can move. Possibly made in New England. Pieced 74 inches by 58.5 inches. It's pretty big. That's really big. I didn't know it was that big. I didn't think about that. Cotton, calico, yeah. 1890 to 1910. It's pretty interesting. Pretty interesting stuff. Karen says the creator even gave the illusion of shade. Looking at the tree's shade line. Oh yeah. Oh my God. Right. Ugh, it's so great. So great. I mean, the houses kind of mush together to me, or I'm not criticizing it, but like I always have had trouble sort of figuring out like what is it, two houses? Is it a house and a barn? I'm not sure, but I love it. It's amazing. It's great. It's great. Okay. So that, yeah, okay. Yeah. It's that other quilt is showing up on Ace Antiques, which is very interesting. Okay. So now let me go over here. Oh, so much. There's so much. There's so much little stuff. I got like lots of little stuff tonight. Intro quilt, done. Go through schedule. Oh, we haven't done that yet, but we will. Just a brief interlude to share with you all something that someone was asking about the other day. Oh no! Oh, this is awful. Oh, I'm live and it'll show me live. I don't want to do that. No, I don't want to see me. Here's what I want to show you. When you go to someone was asking about the replays and like where to watch the older shows and stuff. So I wanted to show you a couple things on the channel, just like to help people out finding things and to tell you where to find the schedule, because the schedule, I mentioned at the top of the show, I'm going home to the United States for like 2.5 months. Yeah, December 16th through the end of February. And so my schedule is going to change. All through this month, there's going to be extra streams because it's Twitchmas. So there's going to be lots of streams, lots of content. And once I'm working with the schedule, trying to figure out exactly when I'm going to be, and I'll be updating the schedule. Okay. So when you go to my Twitch channel, you got to click that schedule tab and it will be updated. So, oh yeah, I'm live right now. I've never seen that. Okay. That's very exciting. So get up in this schedule. I'm going to really keep it up to date, because I need that too. You can click on videos and see all the videos here. This is yesterday's show, Ed Larson. But after 60 days, the Twitch videos disappear. But they're always going to be on YouTube forever. We're going to go to YouTube next. One last thing on the Twitch page is if you click on the About page, hey, how about that? I made buttons. Yeah, I made buttons for my YouTube channel. Oh boy, my buttons for my Instagram channel, Facebook. There's a donate button now. That's nice. Soon there will be a Discord button as well. I have to make sure Discord. I'm learning Twitch. I'm learning Discord. It's a lot, but we're getting there. So on the About page, you can look at all my stuff there, and on the schedule page on Twitch, you can find the schedule. And on the YouTube page, one last thing. Now I should sign out, I guess, because you're seeing my screen, my YouTube channel as it is when I'm logged in and like working on it. But it's the same. So if you click on videos, oh boy, there we are live. So if you click on videos, you'll see all the videos. They're all there. You see all these episodes get uploaded to YouTube right away, right instantly. So you can watch all the videos there forever. They will always be there. So that's just a little bit about how to find things and, where to go. Whoops, can't show you that yet. We will get to that. Okay. Yes. Did it a silo? Oh yeah. Mistake. Okay. Good. Okay. So I did that. Go through channel page. Okay. Excellent. The Dutch thing. Oh my gosh. This is great. Okay. This is so much fun. This is so much fun. Guess what this quilt is? Guess what it is? It is, well, let's examine it, right? Pictorial, you could say. I gotta be small. Sorry. I get maybe too excited. I don't know. This is really cool. So album quilt, right? An album quilt has, sashing, right? And these different scenes sometimes in the blocks. Sashing being the red fabric there that's separating those blocks. We've got our people. We've got a lion. Huge fan of the lion. Love it. These sort of maybe dogs, and anytime there's an animal that you can't really tell what it is, I'm a fan. Heart and hand. Got this really. I like this quilt. I think it is pretty cool. I think it's kind of special. And when I saw it, I was like, that's really interesting. And guess who it belongs to? Guess what it's from? It is from the American Girls doll collection. Yeah. It's a doll quilt for Addie, one of the American Girl dolls. Now, I don't know about you, but I mean, I was just barely in the age bracket. Like, I was almost too old for an American Girl doll when they came out. But isn't this cool? I know. I got a bunch of pictures so we can see it sort of in scale and see it more closely. But I had a... Did I have... Wait a minute. No. I read the books and I loved the books, but I was a little too old for a doll. I didn't... My younger sister had one. She had Samantha, of course. I don't think I had a doll. No, I didn't. But she had the doll, and my grandmother, Fonz, she... Like, they were our grandparents that had, like, a Mercedes-Benz. And don't think it was, like, a thing, but they seemed like they were fancy. They really weren't. Really. But they lived in Houston and they had a Mercedes, and my mother was totally against us getting a Nintendo. Like, she was not going to buy us an NES. It was just like, no, we're not doing that. Well, Grandpa Lloyd, who looked like Joseph Stalin, really, he was tall, huge, big black mustache, super mean. Anyway, he bought us a Nintendo. So it was like that. Like, he came to visit and he knew Mom didn't want us to have one, and he bought it for us. Ugh, gross. My grandma Benita bought the doll for Rebecca. So, I mean, they were kind of like, they kind of threw their weight around a little bit. Mom loved that. But so Rebecca had a doll from my grandma Benita, and I think, she had Samantha. But Addie came a little bit later. So here's what it says. So Addie, and you probably know about the American Girl dolls, Pleasant Company. There is an American Doll place in Chicago on Michigan Avenue. I think it's still there. There's like a theater there, and it's these books about these American girls and their stories, and it's like a serial. Each girl has like a bunch of books about her, and there are these dolls. Now, do you all have, children who had these dolls? Do you remember these dolls from your own childhood? Because I, do you know? Yeah, okay. Loved her books. Yeah, I loved all this. I loved this stuff. So anyway, Addie, there was Samantha, Kirsten was like a little Swedish girl or something. And then Samantha was like a Victorian gal. And then Molly, who was like World War II. And I think Addie came next. Anyway, this is what American Girls collection says. You will be enchanted by Addie, the newest addition to the American Girls collection. A series of beautifully illustrated books. It is kind of awesome, right? Like, the Pleasant Company is cool, right? Is there something we shouldn't like about it? Because I think it's cool. Beautifully illustrated books tell the story of this brave girl growing up in the midst of the Civil War in 1864. It's a collection so special, you'll treasure it for years to come. So this stuff was not cheap. Addie doll and paperback book, $82. Yeah. Wow. Addie doll and hardcover book, $88. Addie's trunk, $155. And we're talking about, like, this would have been like late 80s, early 90s. We couldn't afford that. That was a Grandma Vanita purchase when Rebecca got that doll. Okay, family album quilt. Okay, look at this. Look at this. Addie's Treasures and Collections. I mean, if you're a little girl and you're like into dolls, or you're a little boy and you're into dolls, whatever, this was like, it didn't get better than Pleasant Company, and it's probably still a thing. Do you have grandchildren who have these dolls? Okay, you guys, you know this. Okay. Oh my god. Okay. Felicity. Oh my god, I remember Felicity. Okay, great nieces. Naflinster has great nieces who have the dolls. Robin's Nest says, my oldest daughter loved the books, but the dolls were way too expensive for our budget. I mean, yeah, like $82 for a doll. Ooh. And the thing is, they get you with all the accessories because they're so amazing and like you want the stuff. But look at that quilt. We're going to look at the quilt a little bit closer. That quilt is awesome. I mean, I think that's really amazing. And someone was saying it may be painted. Yeah, we're gonna look at that. Yeah, printed. Okay, and Kentucky agrees with Elaine. Okay. Caitlin says, my mom made me Addie's little blue going to school outfit. It was such a look. Totally. It is a look. It's a mood. This frock, this like smock. It's a smock and a frock. I love it. Jessica says, this is what I saw. I remember calling the 800 number and ordering a doll with my saved up chore and birthday money. It's just so sweet. Man, you saved. You mowed a lot of... Well, no, you wouldn't have been mowing lawns probably. I don't know. I don't know how old you were when you got your doll, but... I mean, they were so nice. Look at this. They were so nice, and they are so nice. And I think some people are saying they have people in their family now who are into these dolls. They're so nice that I think people who were kind of past a doll state, like, you know, you'd be curious about these things if at a lot of different ages, I think, because, I mean, a little table and I don't know. Marianne, my niece, who's now 34, got a doll and a bed and what seemed to be a whole lot more stuff to go with a colonial style doll. Yeah. Who was it? Is that Felicity? I think that was Felicity. I don't know though. I don't remember. But yeah, and there's a lot of the dolls now, I think, a lot of different ones. Wordenberg Nerd knows that this came out in 1986. Your daughter was 4. You avoided all commercial toys for her. You hated having to buy a Cabbage Patch for her dance recital. We couldn't afford a Cabbage Patch doll. And I remember, it's honestly one of the things, I'm so ashamed of this in my life. My grandma and my mom, you know, got like, oh my God, I'm gonna cry. Got like a Cabbage Patch doll like head, you know, like a generic Cabbage Patch doll head, and like made I'm gonna cry and like made me a doll, you know, a Cabbage Patch-ish doll, and I hated it because it wasn't real, you know, and the nose was just totally wrong, and it didn't have the body that everybody had, and you know, I was awful about it. Kids are awful sometimes. I mean, my world was really small, and you know, I wanted a doll, and I remember I didn't like it, and I was like, meh, and it's so embarrassing, you know, that they went to all that trouble and they spent money on that, and you know, it just wasn't the one I wanted. It's like so awful. I feel terrible about that. I was like 5, but still 5, I don't know. So let's take a look at this quilt a little more closely and see if we can tell. I mean, it's not all painted. Doesn't that tree look like it's... No, okay, this looks painted. Like it's stitched around the motifs, but this thing looks painted to me. I don't know if getting that close is helping you see what I see. But, I mean, I don't know. Maybe there's another picture we can see that'll show it. Yeah, some of the kids weren't into dolls. That was Felicity. Okay, yep, that was Felicity. The colonial one. Yeah. Christmas is your daughter. Has 3 American Girl dolls. But being the dad, you have no idea which ones. Okay. Well, hopefully if she has Addie, you should be like, honey, is one of your dolls Addie? If so, I know a big group of women who would really love to see the quilt. Can I take a picture of your quilt and put it on the Discord? We would actually really love to see that. Yeah, the dolls were pricey. The books were, I remember being pretty good. Okay, see, look. So here's the back. I found a picture of the back. So we can see it is actually quilted, you guys. It's really quilted. Yep, there's probably, knockoffs. You're a dad. J.E. Porter is a dad. We have no idea who people are in the chat until they tell us, and I love to know. J.E. Porter is a dad, and J.E. says, I got fooled into going to an American Girl doll store once. Insane. I can relate to getting my first NES, though. Getting your first NES. NES. I'm like missing something very simple. But you know what you reminded me of? NHS, which is the medical system, here. And I got my booster jab today. and I just went like this, and I was like, oh, my arm is so sore. But I got my booster jab today, and your comment reminded me of that and of my hurt arm. It could be fused applique. That's interesting. Yeah, the whole scene is super adorable. Look up the Conan sketch. Oh, that's funny. When he goes to the American Girl doll store. Conan O'Brien goes to the American Girl doll store. I bet that is really funny. Oh, Raffle Waffle's name is Kirsten. So she had a Kirsten doll. Look at this. This is blue. So this is a one in blue. I was going down the Addie American Girl doll rabbit hole today, believe me. And the rope bed, right? Look at that. It's pretty amazing. The ruffle on the pillow, forget it. It's awesome. Yeah, kids are just kids, you know. Mr. Mouth and a quick curl Kelly. It's amazing. Chatty Cathy. It counts. It totally counts. Yeah, it does look like a cheater panel. It's probably what they did. They printed out the tops of the quilts and Shrinky Dink. Oh, Susan says I did an art project with kids using Shrinky Dinks, and you could totally make a quilt ornament in this style. Oh, that's true. I've been thinking about ornaments. Okay. What is the patch? Oh, Nintendo, of course, NES. I know. Caitlin, you gotta go. You're done cooking dinner. It's the turkey soup, right? I want some of it. I'll imagine it. I'll dream of turkey soup tonight. I hope you enjoy the replay. We're really glad you're here. We appreciate you. Yeah. Okay, I think there's just a couple more pictures, maybe. No, that's it. So that's I found that today. You know, a lot of times I pull stuff for you all that I have, you know, just in these deep folders of stuff. But today I found this, and I don't know how, but it was that first picture that I showed you. This thing. I mean, sorry. This. I was looking for something. I was like, oh, that's cool. Click. American Girls. We get the content and we bring it. Okay, but now we have a few more little bits, okay? Maybe we have a lot of bits. I don't know. American Girl. Okay. Now there's this. I am very upset. Because this poster, which I think is totally awesome, it's a poster for a show, okay? So, I meant to say that I have one of the folders in my computer on my external hard drive of Wonder is called the Big Folder of Fascination. And it's just like, there's so much in there, and it's like little one-offs, you know? Because if there's like the American Girl Addie has its own folder, you know, because there's multiple pictures and there's stuff to talk about, whatever. But the Big Folder of Fascination is mostly just like one-off things that I'm like, it's so cool, and I'll file name it as best I can, and then it goes into the Big Folder of Fascination. Well, the little series of things I have to show you now are all from the Big Folder of Fascination. I know. So that's a quilt. Those wolves. This is a quilt. I have not yet gotten over the fact I found this poster. Okay, and remember when we were talking about, I was like, the American Craft Museum, my mom and I looked at that program together with you all, you know, with the lips on it, and it was from the American Craft Museum, and it was for this groovy, like kind of like drug-influenced quilt exhibit. And it was at the American Craft Museum, which no longer exists because it's called something else. So I'm surfing on my webs, you know, I'm chilling, I'm hanging out, I'm doing my stuff, probably had a glass of wine, doing my thing, watching The Wire with my husband. It's so good. It's so good. I can't really research and do stuff while we're watching The Wire because The Wire is so good. I have to just watch it. Anyway, but I was doing my best. And I found this at an auction site. And it's this poster, and I bid on it. It wasn't that much. I wanted this. I wanted it. It was $60. And I bid on it, and I got it. And I wanted to frame it because it's so awesome, right? It's just great. I love the font. I love the white. I love the black. I love that it's this museum that doesn't exist anymore. 1987. I mean, it's just great. And the quilt is so cool. I get it. I pay for it. I get an email 2 days ago We are so sorry to inform you that this poster is not, in fact, in our warehouse. And we're going to refund you. So sorry. Let us know if you have any questions. Man, I was really bummed out. I really like this piece, you know? And I can't afford the Dutch master picture that we looked at tonight, you know? But 60 bones, I can part with 60 bones. So it wasn't to be. It wasn't meant to be. And I know, it's just the worst, right? And then this quilt, by the way, is Marianne McCann. And this quilt is called Heifer and Peffer. I'm going to write this down. I actually didn't look this up. What kind of nerd am I? This is terrible. Marianne, spelled like our very own Marianne tea cake, and my mother, Marianne. Marianne McCann, and it's called Heifer and Peffer. I know, there is the mad bee. That's the name of that quilt. If someone wants to look it up and throw it up in the Discord, that'd be awesome. 1988. Yeah, anyway. So that's in the big folder of Fascination now. And that's okay. That's just where it's going to be. Maybe one day it'll come back to me. Okay, what's next? What's next? You see, this is like a rapid fire kind of deal. Oh, yeah, this quilt. You art people, you know, you might sort of recognize what this is. Okay. This is a very low resolution picture of a quilt that I think, I mean, it's interesting because we saw birds in the quilt earlier tonight. And yeah, and so I found, where did I don't know why I think I should remember where I find all these things, but it's like, you know, how you find anything when you're looking for something else, probably. But this quilt, I put it on my Instagram, okay? And I'm actually gonna go to the Instagram post, which I grabbed a screenshot of earlier today, because it has the information that I have about it. So that's what's next. But look at this. Look at the quilting on this. Polynesia the Sky. That's what the piece is, and it is indeed, you may have recognized, Henri Matisse, right? A quilter has reproduced a Matisse work. Okay, we're gonna see who this is in just one second, because I don't remember her name. I grabbed this. I was like, oh my god, I want to talk about this because it's in the big folder of Fascination. This is the kind of stuff that's in there. I will zoom in more. Whoa, the wind did that. So yeah, you can see it, and it looks so low resolution on my screen, but actually it might be okay for you. I've got to get the original work. That's what I forgot to do. Hang on. Yeah. So, oh man. It's so great. Look at this. Look at the original. Hang on. Quilters win, you know? I know what I should do. Let me, just because I really want it to be able to, don't read ahead. Don't read ahead. All right. Great. Here. That's the original. It's a print of the original anyway. So that's Polynesia the Sky by Henri Matisse. And it's Polynesia, the Sky. So that's the work. That's the quilt. That's the work by Matisse, the painting. It's actually paper. I think it's paper. We can read more about the original work, okay? Yeah. You people and your Cheetos. I love it. I love you. So yeah, the quilting. So here's what I found. This was back this summer. So today I'd like to share the work of Frances Soika, a quilt maker. Frances Soika passed away in Ohio in 2010. She was 86. I asked at this time when I posted about this, if you know anything more about her or you find anything more about her, please let me know. I wrote that Frances seemed to be very active as a maker and teacher in the 1980s, known for her handmade quilts She was beloved to many quilt makers. She was a great teacher. She put people and animals in quilts. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. There's more. That's right. I have a slideshow or a gallery in this Instagram post. Yeah, we better look at them. We better look at them. Yeah, she had work acquired or commissioned by the American Red Cross, the Cleveland Clinic, Malcolm Forbes, among others. Very interesting. Very, very interesting. Hang on. You all and your Cheeto. I love it. Are you saying crunchy Cheetos are the only ones worth eating? Of course. Who eats the puffed Cheetos? I don't know. Okay. Maybe we'll come back to Frances Soika. We'll come back to Frances Soika at some point. If you go to my Instagram and scroll down to July, you'll find more from her. But yeah, I'm going to write that down because we should spend more time on her. She's really interesting. Frances Soika. Okay. All right. What else is in the big folder of fascination? Oh yeah, look at that. That's pretty much it. It's patchwork hair. I mean, I think the big folder of fascination shows, like the little bits and stuff here and there. I think it's fun. I should do it, once a month, just like a fast, tour, right, through some of these things that I have. Oh yeah, okay. Brace yourself. The next quilt that I'm going to show you, if you're not watching the TV or the computer or whatever you're watching on, put down safely whatever you're doing and come and look at the screen, because I'm going to show the next picture very briefly, and I'm not going to say anything about it. And if it seems like I'm hyping it up maybe a little bit too much, I'm not. So everybody just take a deep breath, and I'm going to linger, and then I'm going to move on. My friend Heather sent this to me. Some of you may have seen this, and you can chat about whatever you want. You can talk about whatever you want, but I am not going to let this image linger for very long. But here you are. Just in case you can't, it's Michael Flynn. So, it is a gift at a thing from Quilters. Yeah. And there's more of those. I've seen them. Yeah, they are. Hey, Beastly Richard. Hi. Yeah, they are. And I've seen a number of these, right? Around, actually. Yeah. Gross. But I mean, it's in the folder of fascination, obviously. I just hate giving airtime to any of that business. It's just poisonous. So, that exists. All right. Oh, this is for later. Okay. Sorry, I mean, we're all adults here, but it's just like, the more attention it gets, the more it is a thing. And I just can't. I don't want any part of it. Yeah, exactly. It stands for quilters. I'm with you. I like that a lot. Okay. So a couple more bits. This quilt, I don't know. It's one of my favorite quilts I've ever seen. And it's been around on the internet. It's for sale, and it's been for sale for several years. Like, I've seen it at this auction site, which I'll give you the link to, for a while. Ain't nobody buying, because I think it's listed at $9,000 or something. I've got it pulled up right here. $9,600. Stag and Hounds folk art quilt. And there's several pictures of this. I mean, it's just, isn't it? Look at this part, and I've got some detail shots for you. Look at that. Look at this. The way, I mean, it's that, like, that detail. Like, our opener quilt, the person who made that was good. Knew some things, and had, probably drawn a whole lot of stuff to be able to get good at making that doorway look the way it did. And it's the same with this hound, right? Or this I mean, what is going on here? I mean, it's called Stag and Hounds, and so these are hounds. And this is a hound too, right? I mean, obviously these are the stags, but the way it's coming out of that shape, I'm not sure if that's like, I mean, it seems sort of mythological or something like that, but I'm not sure if that's kind of the point, or if it's just this is the action, this is the shape of the scene, and they're cutting out two animals from one piece of cloth. I'm not sure. Those colors are chef's kiss. Completely, Jessica. I 1000% agree. Folk art is beautiful. And like, what is folk art? Like, how do we define it? Folk art, decorative art, fine art. I'm thinking about all these things, because I'm working on this lecture about quilts and fine art. And it's like, the first thing I got to do is define. I got to get a good definition of fine art. Like, what is it? And then decorative art is kind of throwing shade. Decorative art is like, it has been used as a term to like push some of the ladies, art off into a different gallery, maybe off the main gallery, you know what I mean? Decorative is, for example, something that's very very true, is that the Whitney Museum of Art, look at this, the Whitney Museum of Art show in 1971, Abstract Design in American Quilts, the first really, really big exhibit of quilts at a major museum. Whitney Museum of Art in New York City, super prestigious, it's among MoMA and the Met, and it's the Whitney, right? American art. And quilts, lots of them being Amish quilts, were displayed in the main gallery at the Whitney, okay? And it was huge, 1971. Lines around the block, changed a lot for quilt makers. There were no applique quilts in that show. Not a one. They were all piece. They were all patchwork. And that is an interesting thing. And there were people who were not so pleased with that, who said, this is, like, everybody was like, oh, these quilts, like the Amish ones we looked at yesterday, many Amish quilts in the Holstein and Vanderhoof collection, and they are all graphic and abstract. And the idea was that these quilts can, these abstract geometric quilts can stand up to any Rothko, any Klee, any Yves Klein, all this, and it's like, yeah, they can. And there's this wonderful essay called "A Quilt is an Art Object When It Stands Up Like a Man," and it's so good. But sort of like the applique quilts, the applique quilts have flowers, and they have vines, and they have, baskets and fruit and things. And none of those quilts, oh, it's raining, it's so cozy in here. None of those decorative quilts were in the show. It was only the geometric, you could say even hard edge stuff. And so some people, were like, that's a problem, because quilts are, I mean, there's many problems with that show. It's one of my favorite topics to talk about, because it was such a watershed moment in so many ways. But like, the quilts were hung up on the wall as paintings. But quilts aren't paintings. So quilts were really kind of only good enough to be in the Whitney if they were hung on the wall as if they were paintings by men, by abstract designers, right? Abstract painters. They weren't exhibiting album quilts on beds at the Whitney. Oh, no. They were, and this is okay. I don't have like a big beef about this. It's just a fascinating moment, because quilts got entry into a major museum, but not as quilts, really. It was amazing that these abstract paintings were actually quilts, So a quilt like this was not at the Whitney, this applique one. Although, I mean, they might have given it a try, but not at that show. And a Baltimore album quilt? No. That's a world away from an Amish quilt. It couldn't be more different. Sorry, I'm going on and I'm not looking at what's going on here. Yeah, that dog's going for the throat. Yeah, Nancy, I think you're right. The dog is going for the stag, and it was the best, most expedient, beautiful way to render that, right? Instead of having like another piece of fabric on top of the stag, this hound, or this beast that's trying to, it's a hound, is trying to capture the stag, and the artist knew that the best way to do that was sort of to merge them into one. It's freaking fabulous, right? Isn't it amazing? Checkmark emoji. Oh, checkmark emoji. Oh, thank you so much. Yeah, we should. Oh, yeah. Yeah, when I speak some truth, when I spit some realness, when I spit some realness, we should have like, checkmark. Checkmark. I like that. So this is our stag and hound quilt. Oh, wait, let me read you what it says. This is on First Dibs. This extraordinary pictorial quilt, approved, depicts images that are both fierce and friendly. On the bottom are hounds chasing stags, while on the top is a tree of life, surrounded by birds, one of which may be a dove. Okay, yeah. I think this is a dove. Approved. It's a shame. Wait, what? This is from First Dibs. And again, I think this person who's writing this doesn't know a whole lot about quilts, because tree of life means something very specific for quilts, but that's fine. Whatever. Not everyone can be a quilter, and it's okay. Unfortunately. It's a shame, this person says, not to be able to speak with the quilt maker. Oh, okay. Sorry. It's a shame not to be able to speak with the quilt maker, to learn more of her intent. But perhaps it is a metaphor for both the danger and kindness of life. Or am I reading too much into it? Who's right? What? I went from like being like, this is not appropriate for a listing for an auction, into like loving the person who wrote this. I picture like some kindly older gentleman. It's a shame not to be able to speak with the quilt maker, to learn more of her intent, but perhaps it is a metaphor for both the danger and kindness of life. Or am I reading too much into it? I love it. The quilt is from Pennsylvania, circa 1870s. Measurements are 77 by 78. Whoops. Baby thing. Sorry. Oh, God. Oh, an assault to the eye. Oh, yeah. Okay. Football's going on. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, the size. Sorry, Ivana. Yep. I just was about to say. Oh, yeah. 77 by 78 inches. Pretty big. I mean, it's pretty big. Turkey soup time. Bye, Jill. You were making the turkey soup, not Caitlin. Enjoy your turkey soup. I hope you have some crusty bread and some butter. That sounds really good. Oh, yeah. Mic drop. Yeah, that's good. I could do that. So there's your stag. Okay. Just a couple more. I just got a couple more, and oh, it's midnight. I gotta get to bed one of these days. Okay. So the baby thing, we're gonna talk about that later, because I can't remember exactly what it is, but here's another thing that I have to show you. This is in the big folder of Fascination. All of these things are the big folder of Fascination, and we're talking about Amish quilts. And I'm doing my thing on the fashion, right? I've got the lecture on fine art, quilts and fine art for QuiltCon, and I've got the lecture on quilts and fashion for QuiltCon. And you think you've seen it all, right? Really, you think the quilts and fashion thing, man, it's like all I look at sometimes. And I thought I had all the major designers who had used quilt motifs, in a major way in their work. Look at this guy. Here comes this guy. This is all 1991. Okay. Yep. Upscale Prairie. Exactly. It's a treasure trove. Oh, Susan, where do you live? I mean, let's talk, because I feel like we could really, I think you've got some folders of Fascination as well, I mean, everybody does, I'm not playing favorites, but I mean, Susan, you seem to have like a folder as well. And it's a treasure trove indeed. I just love adding to it. So this person who designed this is Christian Francis Roth. I mean, and he was inspired, as you can tell, right, by Amish quilts. And I think he comes from, I think he was designing in, I don't know if he's alive, I haven't looked that much into him yet as a person, but he's not American. He's designing in America, but not an American. Look at this. Oh, right. This. Isn't that, isn't that, isn't that awesome? I just think it's so great. I mean, I wouldn't wear it to my wedding because it's a bit on the nose. It's like, okay, Mary, give it a rest. Like, I'm not gonna wear, like, we've talked about that before in this chat, I believe. Like, is it too much for somebody who's really into quilts to like wear a pair of quilt earrings? And like, I actually think you should do whatever you want, but like, I'm not gonna, you know, yeah, I don't need to do that. It's not my jam. But like, it's so good. Double wedding ring. If you don't know, there's the pattern that is being used on this wedding dress is called double wedding ring. And you don't have to know that at all. It might even be better not to know that. But to see this beautiful wedding gown with a cape, dead. I mean, it's got a cape. You don't like the veil? Oh yeah, the veil. Yeah, the veil, I mean, yeah, the veil. You know, these days I feel like there would be you could do a lot better. You could do a lot better with the veil with like, I don't know, some little, not a fascinator. Look, how twitchy am I now with my hoodie? Wow. Look kind of weird. Yeah, get rid of the veil, but the cape though. This like satin cape. I just think it's wonderful. I just think it's wonderful. Maybe you don't. Maybe you think it's dumb. It's totally okay to think it's dumb. You don't like it? Oh, I love it. I love it. I love it. Some people totally hate it. It's totally okay. It's okay. I think it's great. I think it's great because it's so different. And I don't know why, but I love the fabric. I love the white. It looks like frosting to me. Anyway, maybe I'm wrong. I don't think I'm wrong. But anyway. Okay. So Christian Francis Roth, yeah. And it says, Christian Francis Roth sexy Amish suit. In purple and olive merino wool with a multicolor wool scarf collar. And so, yeah, this is all 1991. Look at that. And all of this Amish stuff, except for the wedding dress that I'm suddenly plunged into doubt about because I'm not sure that anyone else loved it. Okay, good. Some people loved it. Whew. I hope so. Okay, Elaine. Oh, you're getting your Christmas tree. Go enjoy. Get the Christmas tree. Get the best one. Don't get sap on everything that you own. It might happen. Just wear gloves, you know. I'm so glad you were here tonight. I'm so glad. You had such wonderful things to say. Everybody does. It's a bit twee. You know, Dana, you're not wrong. And I'm not backpedaling because I want to, you know, go with the crowd. I get it. It can, you know, it's a lot. In fact, I hadn't really thought about how it was double wedding ring until I said it. And when I said it was double wedding ring used in a wedding dress, that was my first like, is that too much? But I still love it. I think it's amazing. I think it's amazing. Yeah, sexy Amish. Oh, you loved it. Okay, good. Jessica loved it. Off-white, interesting. Oh, Yvonne, look. I feel like that dress, even if you're not like gagging over it like I was, there's something here. I mean, there's even if your wedding dress, if it was like sort of like embroidered, right, with the same, you know, if you have white dress and you take some, you know, white stitching and you're embroidering a double wedding ring kind of thing, like on the bottom, this has potential. I don't know. I think it's great. When I got married the first time, my second marriage, we went to City Hall. I was like, I don't want anything. No. And he was like, you're my dream woman. I was like, I know. We went to City Hall. I wore what I wore when I met him. I was wearing my tennis shoes and a red sweater when I walked into that bar and met that man of mine who I love so much. And we got married at City Hall, and I wore the red sweater and the tennis shoes, and it was just the best day of my life. But the first time I got married, I don't want to talk about it, but I considered wearing a red dress. This is why I should not have gotten married, because to that person at that time, this is not an idea that was met with a lot of excitement, but I just wasn't ready to get married at all. But I mean, I think the red dress, me wanting a red dress, sort of spoke to that fact. But you get on that train, and I mean, not the train of the dress, but you get on, you know, that starts going. You get engaged, and you're kind of younger and you think it's just, you can't get off that train even though you kind of want to. And I kind of wanted to, but I felt like it was too late. Isn't that terrible? Anyway, yeah. So I'm not gonna, the red dress, maybe no, but maybe that's why I liked that dress, because it's so different. And the one wedding dress I had, I really wanted it to be different. So maybe that's why I liked it. Anyway, so here we have some Amish stuff. Office Amish. Just a couple more pictures from this guy. I love this. I think that's really neat. The hat's a little much, but I love this. You know, you can see it's the Amish bars quilt, right? That's influencing that. Oh yeah. Robin, it was all about me and Eric. I told him, I was like, I don't want a wedding. I want a real nice diamond ring. And he got me one, and I was like, we're good. This is pretty cool. Whether you would wear it or not, it's very beautiful, isn't it? And it's that star Amish motif, you know? It's so beautifully made. Isn't it wonderful? I think it's really great. And it's all merino wool. You garment designers and garment makers, Ivana, I could not agree more. And that's what I didn't get in my first time around. A caplet. Yes, it's a caplet, Susan. Just really, really beautiful. Okay. I think, you know what, I had one other little thing, but I was not satisfied with everything that I had on it. It's quilts made of socks. Okay, there's quilts that are made of socks, and we're going to talk about them. That's what the baby thing was sort of about. But I'm not going to talk about the sock quilts today because it's late. It's late. Been on for a little while. My head is overtaking this woman. Yeah, well, I'm going to save the sock quilts because it's 12:15, and I got to do the show notes still, and I've got to make my thumbnail. And oh, look at that! The subscription thing, it's working. The subscription thing is working. There's a goal for Twitchmas in the month of December to get 50 subscribers. I don't know. We're 4 months into the show. I think there's like 75 subscribers. I'm so proud of that. I think that's amazing. I'm so excited that this is like actually working. You know, that this show is working because it's so much fun to make. So I don't know. I don't really think it's realistic, but maybe when I go to the United States on December 16th and I'm streaming all the time and I'm doing these primetime shows, you know, 7 p.m. Central Standard Time, 8 p.m., 10 p.m., maybe we do a late night show. I don't know, maybe people will be like, oh my God, I want to subscribe, and we'll make the goal. I don't know. But that is definitely the lowest on the priority list for me. My top priority is awesome content and making these appointments with y'all. Thank you so much. So much. Every single time you're here is just amazing to me. And I hope you had fun. We looked at this quilt. We looked at this Dutch thing. If you missed the top of the show, you got it. It's so good. It's so good, this piece of work. We did that. We talked about the schedule. I just talked about it again. We looked at our new emotes. Huge. The American Girl doll. We looked at there was other stuff in there. We didn't look at sock quilts. The Stag and the Hound. Christian Francis Roth. So much. I love you very much. I mean, you know. And I'll see you soon. Yeah, I'll see you Tuesday. Tuesday mid-morning. I hope you enjoy your rest of your weekend, and happy holidays to everybody. Happy Hanukkah. If you celebrate Hanukkah, it's happening right now, I believe. And that's it. And I'll see you on the Discord, and take